there, and that does include Columbus. We are through the heaviest. We still have some heavy downpours north of the city, but this is where that line is right now. We are still dealing not only with this, but flash flooding. We have tornado warnings into the southern part of the, or southwestern part of the state. So down around Cincinnati, that's what they are dealing with there. We are dealing with thunder and lightning, some heavy downpours, some gusty winds, but we are not dealing with tornado warnings anymore. We had one about 90 minutes ago. That was allowed to expire, and now we're just watching as this line continues to put more and more rain down across areas that are already saturated. So besides the wind damage, the other thing we're really concerned about, and it's the entire state, is flooding. We've already had 2 to 4 inches here in the metro, expecting to probably get another 1 to 3. So here's that line. Severe thunderstorm warnings continue. This continues to move to the south and east, really at about 40 miles an hour. So the rest of the evening, keep that rain gear handy. I think this rain's going to stick around for a few more hours. Going down to the Columbus Crew game tonight. As far as I know, it has not been canceled as of yet, but you may want to bring some rain gear. It is after 7 o'clock tonight, so we still have some time, and I think these things will start to calm down as we get into the early to mid-evening hours. Temperatures falling back into the mid-70s this evening, but then we've got another line that I'm keeping my eye on out in Indiana right now, which could graze parts of central Ohio. I'll talk about that, let you know what you can expect, because boy, guys, we've just seen damage all over the place, and the flooding is really going to become an issue here over the next 6 to 12 hours.
We do absolutely expect to deal with some flooding, Phil. Thank you. And we do have team coverage. We'll hear from Sarah here in just a few minutes. I also do want to let you know very quickly before we move forward, we do have live team coverage of the severe weather for you this afternoon. However, because of the conditions with so many lightning strikes right now, we're erring on the side of caution to keep our teams safe that are out there in the field. And we're going to put those plans to share what they're seeing on hold until we know they are safe and out of harm's way. Let's share what's happening with these power outages. A significant amount throughout the day. More than 115,000 homes and businesses without power at this hour. In Franklin County alone, that number is close to 90,000 customers. Folks in our newsroom who are AEP Ohio customers say they've gotten alerts today saying it could be 3 days before the power is back on. We will track those numbers for you and any possible updates on getting the power restored throughout the evening. These storms spreading a path of destruction even outside of our city today.
And we have gotten reports of severe damage in Dublin, and there's been catastrophic flooding in Perry County. We will have live reports after the break. All right, it's a weather alert day across central Ohio. Meteorologist Sarah Converse and Phil Kelly, of course, tracking things for us. It has been a busy start to the day for sure.
Oh yeah, from the morning to later on the afternoon, we've had severe thunderstorm warnings, damaging wind gusts. We've had the tornado warnings as well. And right now, most of the storm activity is focusing now on at least severe thunderstorms now in southern Ohio, but it's still raining here in Columbus where we're going to have that threat for the flash flooding.
Yeah, I think it's probably the worst we've seen in over 10 years, going back to probably 2012, derecho coming through, and really the destruction that we've seen, the trees knocked over, the power lines. Now, if you remember back in 2012, we had 90-degree heat on the backside of all of that, all of the electric going out. We don't have that heat, thankfully, this time, but it is an impact that's going to take a few days for Central Ohio to clean up from.
It is a mess out there. We both had treacherous drives in to the station today. One thing we need to remind, I saw so many cars out there in just the pouring rain, and it's dark out there with no lights on.
No.
I'm just like, please turn your lights on. You can barely see as it is, and then have that just makes it much worse. So big reminder, if you have to head out in this, we suggest you do not. Please make sure you have your lights on.
Yeah, if you're using your windshield wipers, lights should be on.
There you go.
And I know some people like to use the hazards when the rain's coming down, but you need to keep your lights on, because if it's blinking like that, it makes it actually harder for people to see you, especially when visibilities drop. The flashing lights are for folks who are in disabled vehicles and are in need of assistance, and you pull over on the side of the road.
And can we talk quickly about that? I'm sure we'll show it again. That incredible video, which is terrifying, on I-71 of this car being flipped over, and you see the storm going over the interstate and flipping that car.
Yeah.
That was some very intense
It could have
wind.
been straight line winds. It could have been a quick spin up tornado. Whatever it is, it was damaging winds that were over 80 miles an hour, because we got an 80-mile-an-hour wind gust out at the airport. So we know that tornadic, at least intensity winds were pushing across, and that's really what we were dealing with and still dealing with. The good news is that we're almost on the backside of this. It seems like for the last 36 hours, we've had storms, wait a few minutes, storms, wait a few minutes. Now we're finally starting to get to the backside of that, and I think after we get through tonight, things are going to be a lot easier sailing for us the rest of the week.
And it just shows, like, whether it's tornadoes or even just a straight line winds, you need to take both of those seriously. 81-mile-per-hour winds, that's a Category 1 hurricane status.
Yeah.
That's hurricane force winds. That can cause damage to your home. They can cause damage to trees, even healthy trees in your yard. We've had a lot of tree damage across the region, across Columbus and across parts of central Ohio. So we're going to start seeing a little bit of a pattern change. Phil's going to be talking about that here in a bit. But let's kind of focus, there's a video.
So let's talk about this.
This
71, which has closed the interstate, by the way, which in turn, I could tell you, has caused a massive gridlock downtown as well right now. So watch, if you want to kind of, you guys walk us through this, because you're going to see this massive gust of wind blow over the interstate.
Yeah, you'll really see it from the right-hand side of your screen come in, and the visibility drops like that to zero visibility. And you'll be able to see something kind of fly across the top third part. There you go, right there. You see that fly through? So
right then, there's the car flips over.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw the video, I wouldn't be surprised if that was possibly a rain-wrapped possible tornado.
Because we did not see any, but it was so dark when you were out there, and like you said, it was in these torrential downpours, so it could have easily been a rain-wrapped tornado.
And I will say, coming into work, like, as Jessica said, I mean, that wind was definitely blowing, definitely a dangerous situation out there for a lot of folks, for sure.
Well, all I do when I see this, think about the person or the family or the people in that car.
Yeah.
And just picked up and flipped over, and how terrifying that had to be. And also for all the cars around them on the interstate, feeling that same impact of such a forceful wind coming by. It's just been a crazy, wild, very scary day out there.
I feel like you mainly think of like those high-profile vehicles that are most susceptible to getting tossed over by strong winds. You never think that in your smaller car that you would get flipped over on your side like that by a strong gust of winds that just comes out of, in a sense, it feels like out of nowhere.
And the amount of rain also, because that's going to be the other point. The other part of this is the flooding, the massive flooding that we're seeing off into Perry County, into southeastern Ohio. Here in Franklin County, southern Franklin County, looking to get another 1 to 3 inches here over the next couple of hours. So we've already have high water on saturated ground. Now we're going to get more. And so flooding then really for the next couple of days becomes a real cause of concern for us.
I was going to say, we already have a lot of flash flood warnings down in Pickaway County, down in Fairfield Fairfield County, Perry County remains under a flash flood warning. They picked up in parts of New Lex 5 to 7 inches of rain. And that was just from yesterday's storms. I'm sure that number has gone up since
these are
storms.
Life-threatening flash flood numbers that we're seeing. So that's why we say take it seriously. I know you think flood, oh, you know, it's going to be fine. No, this water moves quickly and can cause major damage very quickly.
6 inches of rain, fast-moving water, can knock over a grown adult.
And I guess a lot of folks out there may be watching now for the next few hours. You know, we're waiting on our live crews out there. You know, Jessica mentioned this for their safety. We're not doing those live shots because of, you know, the lightning and everything. The next few hours, what can folks expect as far as that rain, lightning? What are we looking at?
Well, I think we've got another 2 to 3 hours of rain here in the metro. That's why I think we're going to get a good amount of rain. A good amount of more flooding for us around the area. So another 1 to 2 inches probably. It's a slow-moving system that continues to move off to the south. This thing continues to strengthen as it goes across central Ohio. It's not weakening as much as normally we see these storms. They come through and they weaken a little bit. But the atmosphere has been so juicy that they've either stayed constant or even strengthened a little bit. Last night, Sarah was talking about, you know, it looked like things were wrapping up and then everything just started blowing up again. And I think we're going to see that over the next 3 to 4 hours.
I don't know if we can... situation, I think, because when I literally sat down at this desk, what did I say, Rodney? I said, we're going to have some bad flooding because of this. And so we're in the middle of this now with the tree damage and power outages, but it is so disheartening to know we should expect flooding and there'll be so much more damage over the days to come. So, I mean, we're not close to the actual end of what people will have to deal with because of this storm. The results, you know.
The most destructive weather phenomenon is flooding, believe it or not. We think tornadoes, hurricanes, that gets all the headlines, but it's flooding. And we're going to see why here over the next few days.
It's number 2 in weather fatalities. Heat's number 1.
Right.
Flooding is number 2. Is for weather fatalities.
All right, I can tell you one of the hard-hit areas this morning, and this was one of the first reports to come in, was near campus. And that's not something we hear about often. We had people calling to say there had been trees uprooted and cars damaged. Our Lisa Rantala is live there in the University District this afternoon. It's just not a common area for bad storms and bad weather to cause so much damage, Lisa.
Jessica, first, this is not a common area, and where we're doing our live shot is also not very common. As our photographer Mozzie would say, we are making it work because I'm going to put the window down. We're in our car. We're in our news car because when we try to go out there to do a live shot at the top of 4 p.m., it's lightning. The lightning really hasn't stopped. You might see some flickers behind me right now. We're still hearing the thunder. As you were tossing to me, we were still hearing thunder. It is, and I heard you say it, just not safe for us to be outside of our car right now. And here's why. You've seen already the destruction these storms have caused today. Ben, I don't know how much you can see. I'll get out of the way. So he's shooting out the window of our car. But you do see we're along Ackerman Road that borders the Ohio State University. We are between Olentangy and Highway 315. And you can see off in the distance, we have utility poles that are leaning on their sides, that they are just leaning. I can't believe they're still standing upright, that they haven't fallen completely. This is caused by the high winds that blew through here 6 hours ago. In the 10 a.m. hour, there were Columbus police officers. I came out here at about 10:30 this morning. They told me over their police radio at about 10:17 a.m. the first police officer to come out here said a tornado hit. Was it a tornado? We don't know. Or was it a straight force winds? Because I'll tell you, I got veered off onto campus to try and make my way here, and I got stuck in a parking lot on campus. And Ben, I don't know if you can see that at all, but take a look at that tree line. Those trees are demolished. They're destroyed. And we have tracked at least a half-mile path of destruction, starting just east of 315, going up to Olentangy River Road, just following this path along Ackerman Road. There are probably a good dozen trees big trees that just snapped. And if you can hear that, yes, that is thunder. And that is why we are doing the live shot from inside of our car right now. Now, we have seen crews out here. There were, as I described it at noon, there were 2 huge trees that just snapped, as you've heard that term, like matchsticks. And they have to fall, and they came tumbling down onto Ackerman Road, covering about 2 lanes of Ackerman. So police were out here making sure, blocking off the street, making sure nobody was coming down for public safety. Yet again, there is definitely more thunder out there. Crews have been out. We did see them. So there was a lull after that 10 a.m. storm. We had beautiful sunshine for some time. Crews were out here. They started cleaning up what they could. We did see some electric companies, trucks, thinking that they were going to clean up some of this, but it's lightning, guys. It's thunder, it's lightning, so it's just not safe to be out there. So it's really just a wait and see mode. I did contact OSU because there was someone who I talked to, again, that sunshine was out, it was beautiful, so then everybody started coming out with their cell phones, right? They are getting video of all of the damage out there. They couldn't believe it. And one individual told me he's here visiting his wife who works at a medical facility at OSU. He said that they lost power. They had to send patients home from their morning appointments. So OSU said, yes, definitely some damage. They have had power outages. But thankfully, we don't think anyone has been hurt out here, guys.
Great, Lisa, and obviously we're happy that you're safe there in the car. I'm glad that you spoke to the power outages. As far as, coming into the campus area there, what did you notice as far as power outages? Any traffic lights out? Did you notice maybe homes without power?
Absolutely. That's why I got veered off over into the OSU lot. I couldn't go down here. There are probably 2 to 3 street lights along Ackerman completely out. And getting to work, I heard both of you, both Jessica, Rodney, you talking about going to work. When I was driving to work, yeah, I was hitting in South Columbus some intersections with no lights. People need to realize how to drive through those intersections when there are no lights. It is treated as a 4-way stop. And I do feel that sometimes people do forget about that. But yes, so the lights were out. There have been outages. We just don't know the tally of how many outages on campus at this point. But I'll tell you, just past, again, those tree lines, that's where that parking lot was, where I ended up and got some footage and some imagery of what I saw over there. And there was this poor individual who loves OSU, had the vanity plate of the Buckeye in the front of their car, and one of these tree tops landed right on their car. So you just don't see this on campus, but campus is definitely affected today.
Wow. I mean, you can see obviously from that video that Alicia showed, even though she's inside the car, just being able to kind of shoot out how much damage there is out there. It's amazing. And I guess, Phil and Sarah, as we, do the surveys, I guess they'll decide if it was straight line winds or potentially.
Right. And I was going to, they were as close as they could be. What they would go out and see is if there's any twisting with those trees. Mm-hmm. That's what they're really looking for. Not if they're knocked straight down, it's pretty easy. It's straight line winds. If there's any twisting of the branches. But obviously, they've been too busy to go out and do surveys today because this is round 2 of the storms already.
And they can't really go out there when it's raining right now. Yeah. So a lot of that is going to come down to a lot of the photos that get submitted to the National Weather Service from the EMA, from emergency, from the police officers, any spotters who may have said that they saw something drop on the ground. So they take that stuff and then they'll go back in radar and they'll go check radar to see if there was potentially some rotation within the storms as they moved in. One of the things that Phil and I were talking about, there's been a lot of broad rotation in a lot of these storms. So there could have been a lot of potentially rain-wrapped tornadoes within these storms. So you can see on live Doppler radar still very active across the region. So we do have that moderate to steady rain and lots of lightning, especially down into southern Ohio where the bulk of our storms are at. So the concern is for the rest of the evening is going to be for that flash flooding risk for the rest of the area. So from up to Wyandotte County through parts of Delaware and Columbus, we are dealing with that steady rain. So zooming into a couple more areas, we do have some flash flood warnings that remain in mainly our southern counties. So down into Pickaway County, Fairfield County, it does clip parts of southern Franklin County. We do have some flash flood warnings there. Also into Morgan and Perry County, which has been impacted the most from all that rain. That was right now dealing with a flash flood warning. That will be until 5:30 p.m. So you can see still some pretty heavy rain down through parts of Chillicothe in the Hocking Hills area and Logan into Logan, so Hocking County, and then just outside of Morgan County. So these storms are going to continue to work their way to the southeast through the rest of the evening. And that concern is that we could see possibly more flash flood warnings being issued across the area. Again, that even continues over into parts of Morgan, as I mentioned, Morgan and Perry County, and even into Athens County as those storms continued to roll into the southern part of the state. So not ruling out a few more stronger storms for this evening. Again, our severe thunderstorm watch will last until about 8 p.m. And then we also have our flash flood watch that will last until Wednesday morning, as that's going to be the concern for the region. But we're going to be tossing things over to Phil, because Phil, when can we finally see a break in this pattern? I think that's what everyone wants to know.
Absolutely. I think, well, let's go to weather 2 here. Where we knew that the most severe weather would be was in southwestern Ohio. Good news is the next couple of days, we are not going to be dealing with severe weather across the state. We've had 2 weather alert days. It's been a while since we've had back-to-back days like this. So those weather alert days are going to go away starting tomorrow and then for the rest of the week. As we get into how much rain have we seen, we're talking about the flood watch here. Be able to see, there's what I was talking about, the severe weather outlook. In southern Ohio for Wednesday night and Thursday night could possibly, but it's not going to be as strong as what we've had. This is just over the last 12 hours. So from about the storm that started this at about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, we've had anywhere from 1 to 5 inches here in the metro. They've had even more to the south and east, particularly into parts of Perry County, where we got reports of 8 to 10 inches in some folks' rain gauge. Athens County, been to Benton County, Fairfield County, Morgan County, Muskingum County. Everybody now is dealing with another wave of rain coming through, and that's why I said flooding is really going to be the major concern as we go through the next few days. 69 out at the airport. Winds are out of the southwest at 6 miles an hour. Dew points into the upper 60s, so we almost have 100% humidity. That's why it's a little bit on the hazy side out there. As we go through the rest of the day, it starts getting a little bit better. We do have another wave back here in Indiana, but it does look like it's making a beeline more for Cincinnati. So if you're in southwestern Ohio, you are going to be dealing with another round of storms here in about 45 minutes or so. But it looks like we're going to continue to see the heaviest rain push south of the Ohio River. Things stay quiet for the rest of the overnight. We get a little bit of fog. Like I said, almost 100% humidity out there. We wake up to some fog tomorrow morning. Then we're dealing with another system that once again looks to clip southern and southwestern part of the state. So will we possibly see areas tomorrow that don't see any rain at all? Absolutely, we could. We could see many areas that don't have rain. I think much of the day will be dry, but there will be some rain in here both Thursday and for Friday. Take you to the 7-day outlook here, and we do have the chance of those showers and storms. Cold front comes through, drops us down to the low 80s. I think by the weekend, things really calm down for us.
We do have continuing coverage of this developing weather situation. We are getting more video and pictures into our newsroom by the minute.
And we're going to show you some of what we're seeing right after the break.
This afternoon have just been really shocking. I've never seen anything like this during my time here in Columbus, and I've been here a long time. Just pictures coming in from all over the area, but really Columbus, again, one of the hardest hit in all of this. We do also have some video from an ODOT traffic camera in North Columbus. This is the one that is just the talker of the day, and it really is scary. Take a look. This was just after 10 along I-71 at Weber Road. That 10 o'clock time frame is very important because that's when we talked about that's really when the crux of this storm hit our area. The visibility here drops very suddenly. The wind picks up, and then a car trying to make its way down the interstate goes flying through the air. You're seeing it right here, right now. We have been working to get information on if anyone was injured in this. It's just a terrifying experience, obviously, but this is just an incredible example showing the sheer power of this storm. And as a result, the crash shut down the interstate for a portion of the morning, and traffic has just been an all-around mess out there. So we're urging people, if you do not have to go out in this, please stay home and stay safe. Another example now just how powerful the system is that moved through our area. The wind's so strong in Linden. This gas station canopy was blown over. This is the Uncle Mac's gas station. It's right along East Hudson. You can see the canopy there snapped right off its support beams, narrowly missing that building.
Well, we lost power across the street, so I was looking across the street to see if they had power, and you could barely see the trees behind the gas station. It was coming down so hard. And next thing I knew, the top of the awning just went right over.
And there's just so much of this playing out across the viewing area. If you can safely get a picture, you have a video you'd like to share with us, send it on in by going on our website, abc6onyourside.com, or our free ABC 6 News app. Let us know where you live, what you're seeing, and we might be able to use it here during our newscast or on our social media. We do have a gallery on our free app for you to look through and just kind of see what's happening close to your home. And again, Rodney, it is just so surprising for all of us to see so much damage in Columbus proper, in the metro area. It's really unprecedented.
It has certainly been a rough day. The first warning radar has certainly been working overtime today, and so has our team of meteorologists. Sarah Converse and Phil Kelly are in studio right now updating us on when we may finally get a break. That's up next.
And they have labeled this as considerable, where winds could reach up to 70 miles per hour. So that's for Adams, Highland, Pike, and Scioto County. This is near the Sinking Springs area, Brush Creek, and that does the severe thunderstorm warning include that area Sunfish. So some of these rural areas here. So again, that's until 5 p.m. for also that severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that is labeled as considerable damage because of the fact that winds could reach up to 70 miles per hour. Also have lots of heavy rain with this thunderstorm, lots of lightning as well, and these will continue again to drift off to the southeast for the rest of the evening. But again, just wanted to touch base just because it does technically include parts of Pike County. Again, just a sliver of it. And then of course we have the severe thunderstorm warning that is going to be moving into Pike County, especially on the western side of that county. Also Ross County for Chillicothe got some pretty heavy rain for you. Not severe, but that could lead to some poor visibility. Also quite a bit of ponding on the roadways in those areas. So again, if you are in that far quadrant of Pike, southwest Pike County, you are under a tornado warning. I'm trying to get some more information from the National Weather Service. This is over near Seaman. I hope I'm saying that right. That's again technically outside of the viewing area, but I want to see where exactly. I mean, that's strong winds right there. That's why they've labeled a lot of these severe thunderstorm warnings as considerable damage. The only place I can see some type of rotation happening is right down here. So there's rotation happening right there. Have a little bit of a notch right here, but really what I'm seeing here is these very strong winds. So these, when we look at velocity, what we mainly look at is going to be looking for those velocity couplets where we have those greens, reds together, and those are tight. So that's going to showing that there's rotation happening. But velocity can also tell us how strong the winds are. So when we get these bright shades like this, that's indicative of very strong wind. This is why some of these severe thunderstorm warnings have been labeled as considerable in that threat level, as they could reach and produce 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That is just shy of a Category 1 hurricane, so almost hurricane force winds. So I'm actually going to look and see what the shear, the gate-to-gate shear is on this to see maybe I can get an idea what potentially some wind gusts. Oh, it's gonna probably tell me. So 89-mile-per-hour winds that radar is trying to paint on that.
It did look like they were that it was radar indicated, and that's what made the National Weather Service pull the trigger on this. But this line has a history. It came out of out of the Cincinnati area as a tornado warning. They have allowed it to extend a little bit into southern Ohio. But yeah, we've seen these damaging winds continue to push through, as this is the strongest line in the state right now.
Southern counties, just to reiterate, just make sure you're staying weather aware. We got wind gusts that could reach up to 70 miles per hour, but we're going to be tossing it either back to normal programming, or we're going to continue our severe weather coverage here. Oh, we're going to toss it over to Jessica and Rodney for this, but just wanted to touch base because the tornado warning does barely clip parts of far southwestern Pike County.
Sarah, and we do want to mention first off here, very important note for parents in Upper Arlington. The Upper Arlington School District has canceled the first day of classes tomorrow due to power outages. They're hoping to start classes by Thursday if possible, if the power gets back on. So again, those parents in Upper Arlington, no class tomorrow. Things have been canceled due to power outages. Now take a look at this. We're getting new drone video tonight showing an AEP substation. If you can see this AEP substation in Crooksville, Perry County, submerged in floodwater, impacting more than 2,000 customers. Crews can't safely make repairs until this water recedes here, as you can see. But AEP Ohio says it's exploring other options, including building a new line to restore service. We're also learning about Red Cross shelters being set up in Perry County as well as Franklin counties. And they're at the Scioto Southland Community Center on Parsons Avenue in Columbus, the Perry County Fairgrounds in New Lexington, and the Corning Monroe Civic Center in Corning.
Yeah, it's just an incredible mess out there. And unfortunately, the reality of this, without over-dramatizing or trying to cause any panic, it is just the reality of the situation that we all discussed a little earlier here, is that really this is just the beginning. We have the tree damage, homes damage, buildings damage, school opening day of school canceled for UA because of power outages and such, but now flooding is just a major concern and will continue to be a major concern over the next 48 hours or so. So we're really maybe kind of in the middle of this, but also just beginning now to deal with a whole other realm of severe weather and the violence and damage it can cause.
Yeah, and something that we've been dealing with here is the lightning. A lot of lightning strikes. We have a number of crews out there kind of setting up the video kind of showing us what's going on, and they haven't been able to do some of these live shots because of the lightning, but we're finally getting those up. And you said Kirsten Lindquist, where is she at right now?
She is in
Robert?
South Columbus.
South Columbus.
So let's go to Kirsten Lindquist live.
Hey, good evening, guys. Yeah, we're starting to see some of that damage and a lot of that flooding that we are talking about here on the south side of Columbus, as well as those crews trying to make sure that these folks have power and can safely get to and out of their homes. I want you to see these are the crews from AEP as well as other folks from Columbus Police who are actively working. But you can just see some of this damage off of Parsons Avenue right now. This is on Hinman Ave, and you can just see all of this debris that has been blown over. We've talked about the dangers of the gusty winds. Now we're also starting to see some of that water here. I'm about standing in maybe, I want to estimate here, 2 inches of standing water. And when we have all of this water, we of course are making the ground more saturated, which is then causing some issues for those trees uprooting. We're also starting to see some of those power poles also coming out of the ground. But I mean, you can just see kind of the debris that we're looking at here. There's shingles, there's insulation, there's bricks. There is so much just scattered all across the ground here on the south side of Columbus. And again, this is just something that these crews are having to navigate as they try to restore power to folks in the area. Just again, working around all of this debris, the standing water. This over here is a Jeep that had some damage earlier this evening. We can see that there is a hole in the roof and something fell through the windshield here. Now and again, we're starting to see a lot of that water, and again, all of this other bricks and other stuff to just kind of get a glimpse of the damage that we're starting to see on the south side of Columbus. Again, a lot of folks that I have talked to here who've lived here for so long tell me they've never seen anything like this in their neighborhoods. They've never experienced that gusty winds coming through their homes and just feeling that effects of this storm. Earlier this evening, I also got to speak to Governor DeWine as well as folks at EMA, some state leaders up there. They tell me this storm is going to sit around the Columbus metro area for the next 2 hours or so. So again, we're seeing a lot of this water fall all at one time. We're also starting to see all of that wind starting to come through. And we've also seen the lightning strikes since we've been out here this evening. And again, we're just really urging people that if you don't have to be outdoors, stay inside of your homes. Make sure that you have your devices charged. Make sure you have multiple ways to stay weather aware, whether it's downloading the Ohio WX weather app so you can keep up with our team of meteorologists as they take you through the next steps of this storm. We will continue to be out here monitoring the storm damage. For now, on your side, on the south side of Columbus, I'm Kirsten Lindquist live.
All right, thank you, Kirsten. And the damage in the Columbus metro area has been extensive, and it's going to take days, possibly even weeks, to clean it all up.
ABC 6 anchor Mike McCarthy has been out there in it today, and you've been in Columbus most of your life as well. How does this compare to some of the damage you've seen over all these years of covering severe weather?
Oh, Jessica, there's no question. It is some of the worst, if not the worst, I have ever seen. And just to give you some perspective here, it's not just those of us who have lived in this community who are on TV that are noticing that. I talked to a gal here on the east side. She has lived in Columbus for about the last 15 years. She said that she has endured hurricanes, several of them during her time when she lived out on the East Coast. She said the storm damage that she saw in her neighborhood here on the Near East Side today simply took her breath away. She also said the storm that she went through this morning was scarier than any hurricane she had ever been through for 2 reasons. Number one, she said they had time to prepare for the hurricane. They knew days in advance. They were able to put sandbags around their homes. They were able to board up their windows. They were able to get ready. Today, she said that was not the case. She was prepared for maybe a strong thunderstorm, but not for the storm that hit here on the east side that she said shook her house. She said she was so scared, she grabbed a pillow, went in the bathroom, and just hid under that in case the roof were to come down on her. She's okay. They had some damage at her home, nothing significant there, but in the homes all around her, there were roofs that were ripped off. There were brick walls that were blown apart, and there was a third floor of a brick-story building that is gone. It was wiped off that building almost to the second floor entirely. Again, we're talking about bricks being blown out here on the east side when that powerful storm blew through this morning. Let's talk about what's happening right now. Flooding, I heard you guys talking about it, is a major concern. And as you look behind us here on East Broad Street, you're going to see some cars driving through some standing water. Now, this is not crazy flash flooding, but as this water continues to build here, because the rain has been relentless this afternoon, you're going to see those cars driving through that high water. And at times, if you're driving a small enough car, something like that Honda Fit or a Honda Civic, something that sits low to the ground, there was a chance as you drive across this standing water here or elsewhere across the city, your car is going to be covered top to bottom. Your visibility is going to go away almost instantly as you see drivers coming through here along Broad Street. Let's talk about the power situation as we zoom out live. I want to show you across the street. There's the American Red Cross building, the headquarters, just to kind of give you a point that we're at, just to give you a sense of where we are. What do you see there? The lights are on. This is the only building I have seen today here along East Broad Street that has power. Everyone else has told me they are without electricity and they do not know when they're going to get it back. You see the debris there right outside the American Red Cross building. It's not just there, it is everywhere across these neighborhoods. In fact, where we are live, if we zoom back over here, you're going to see down branches, down limbs. This is small stuff compared to the massive trees we have seen knocked over block after block here on the Near East Side. Rodney and Jessica, there are side streets just off of off of East Broad Street here that are blocked off by police tape, caution tape set up by the fire department because there is just so much debris. We just had some thunder here, so we're going to wrap this up by sending things back to you. And just to put it in perspective, I counted at least 8 blocks here on the Near East Side where damage was strewn across after this morning's storms. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Mike. And a couple things we just want to mention for those parents out there. I know a lot of school districts starting this week. Upper Arlington School District, no classes tomorrow due to power outages. They hope to have those students back in class by Thursday. And we're also getting word that Franklin local schools in Muskingum County will not have classes tomorrow due to flooding. So a lot of those school districts that are starting this week, you may want to check with your school district to ensure that they are open tomorrow if the kids were set to head back to class.
And we'll make sure we keep that updated because I'm sure that list is going to grow throughout the evening as damage is assessed. You know, a lot of flooding out in Perry County. We showed you that video of the AEP substation just a few minutes ago.
Nick Velan is on the ground there. We will check in with him in about 90 seconds. Going through Grandview Heights right now, a lot of damage all across central Ohio. Governor Mike DeWine's message, this is not the time to make stupid mistakes. His words. Nick Velan is covering flooding in Perry County tonight. What do you say, Nick?
Yeah, Rodney, we're in the downtown area of Crooksville on Buckeye Street. You can see this street behind me just completely flooded. You can see homes underwater to the right. That playset is half underwater. You can see the Crooksville American Legion to the left. That is not really much impacted, but that parking lot is just covered in water, and we're just seeing this all throughout this Crooksville area and the Roseville area as well. Now, what we're going to show you right now is the parking lot. This is one of those areas that has just been emergency evacuated. There are no cars along this street. As soon as that came out just before 4 o'clock, we saw multiple neighbors get into their cars and start driving away, because it's not only on that street right there, but you can see their backyards are also flooded as well. So it's a lot of urging of caution for neighbors in these specific areas. The Crooksville EMA person said that they are going to make phone calls to the houses that are going to be impacted, that need to get evacuated as soon as possible. So if you're in Crooksville, if you're in Roseville, and you're in one of these areas, you should have gotten a phone call to tell you to leave your house, get what you need, and pack up and go, because as you can see, this water is rising. They are expecting 1 to 2 inches over the next couple of hours as well. So it's only going to rise even higher, and they have crews from all over central Ohio to make sure that everyone stays safe as well. So there's going to be a lot more rain coming down in town, and we're just urging anyone that may live in these areas that have received that phone call and been told to evacuate to do so. Live on your side in Perry County, Nick Veland, ABC 6 News.
Just an incredible scene out there, and I'm sure it will play out even more as the hours move ahead. What's interesting, I think, about this is we just keep taking hits. You know, sometimes we have a big storm come through, it does its damage, it's gone.
Gone, right.
But this just keeps coming back on us.
Yeah, this is at least the third round we've had. We had a round at about 5 o'clock this morning, then between 9 and 11, and now this afternoon really makes 3 hits for us. And we got the crews out of the because there's still lightning out there, and lightning very dangerous. It's 50,000 degrees, and when you hear thunder, that's actually lightning superheating the air around it, and it's causing that air to expand very quickly, and so it makes a noise when that happens. So if there is thunder, you know there is lightning. There can't be one without the other.
Definitely a serious situation for a lot of folks out there right now.
Yeah, and we're tracking hopefully the backside of this. We've been talking about this now for about 2.5 days, that yesterday and today weather alert days. So for the rest of the evening, waves of these gusty downpours really anywhere here in central Ohio. We are continuing to see flash flooding. That's going to be a story that really is going to last for the rest of the week. All this water that continues to come down. But notice we're almost on the backside of it here. I-77 here of the heavy stuff. We still got it at least another hour. The real heavy stuff down south of Columbus, where we are dealing with thunder, lightning, damaging winds. We still have the flash flooding across all of the metro, even up to our north, parts of Kenton, Marion County. So up 23, out 33 toward Bell Fountain, you're going to run into this heavy rain, but also starting to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. There is more rain back out in Indiana. This is the heaviest spot down here where we just had the tornado warning into the very southern part of Pike County. So Waverly on 23 between Piketon there and Chillicothe. Here is the other wave that's coming out of Indiana. So this is going to be another round. The good news is that it's going to miss most of central Ohio. Notice it's pretty much going down Dayton. It will hit Cincinnati and some of our southern and southwestern counties. But here in the metro, we should miss that wave. So in a few hours, we could be done with this rain. For the rest of your evening forecast, temperatures are going to be into the low to mid 70s. We will continue to deal with these soupy conditions as well. As we go over the next few days, and I do want to get to the hour by hour here and show you exactly what we're expecting, because though we are expecting the severe weather to go away, I am not expecting all of the rain to really go away. How much rain have we seen? Well, it's been a flooding rain, as we know, because we've had numerous rounds and rounds and rounds. 3 to 4 inches here in the metro, more than that off to the south and east, and we still have a few more hours. So there's areas that have seen up to almost a foot of rain in the last 36 hours. out at the airport, well, we're done with the heat and humidity, right? Or at least the heat, 69. Relative humidity is at 96% right now. Okay, here's the hour by hour showing this second wave coming in and really missing the great majority of central Ohio. So this is here over the next hour, continues to push along the Ohio River. Yes, we will still be left with some lingering showers, but I think the severe component by this time will be out of central Ohio and south of the Ohio River. We wake up tomorrow, I think we're going to have a good chance of seeing a widespread fog first thing tomorrow morning. And this model at least shows a lot of this rain tomorrow staying south and west of Columbus again. So I think great majority of your day tomorrow should be dry. We'll see some rain trying to sneak in here late, and that's going to be the same story. Did you see that overnight Wednesday into early Thursday? Daytime hours do look dry, and then we get into Thursday night, and that's when I would expect to see another wave of rain, but it's not going to be near as serious or as severe as what we had yesterday and today. 85 the next couple of days, another chance of some scattered rain on Friday. Weekend is looking nice with rain holding off until Sunday night. Looks like we're going to push back near 90 by the end of the weekend.
Right now, new reports of damage as the storms get a little bit weaker and start to move out of the metro.
One area dealing with some damage right now is Upper Arlington. Isabel Hansen is there for us tonight. Isabel.
Rodney, I just spoke with a neighbor and she says that it felt like they were in a movie this morning. She also described today as a day that they'll always remember. Take a look. You can see for yourself. Something clearly came through this street. This is Wellesley in Upper Arlington, a block from the high school. Massive trees destroyed and down. They're on homes. They're on garages. Everyone's inside right now for the most part because it's still raining here. It hasn't stopped pouring for the past few hours, but you can see that the trees were completely uprooted, split in half. Over here, there's a massive tree that came uprooted from the ground and the concrete sidewalk was actually pulled up with it. The neighbor told me that they did get a little break in the afternoon and people were out here sawing up the trees to try to get through the road. The city came out and helped with spruce too, but they're still not able to clear this big tree right here. They said that they've never seen anything like this. They've lived here for 15 years,
and this is something very out of the ordinary. I do want to give you some numbers from the city of Upper Arlington to help kind of paint a picture of the damage that happened in the city. There were 0 injuries, which thankfully is the best news of the day. There were 104 calls for service today since the storm came through in the morning. 32 trees down on property, 10 on houses, 2 on cars, and 22 streets blocked. That is all in Upper Arlington. They're still trying to come up with a plan to get out tomorrow again to continue going through the damage in the city, but it's going to take some time. Neighbors in this area, again a block from Upper Arlington High School, tell me that they don't have power right now. School was actually supposed to start for most students tomorrow. The woman I spoke with, her daughter's supposed to be a freshman this year and start school tomorrow, but that's been postponed because of the damage and debris that's impacted school buildings and the school campus as well. So they're waiting. Their first day of school has been postponed, but thankfully no injuries. They're just dealing with quite a mess and no power. It's definitely going to be some time for them to pick this all up. And again, they said that it really felt like they were out of a movie today, and they'll never forget this. Back to you all in the studio.
That is certainly a serious situation. Thanks a lot, Isabel. And we're getting new pictures of the damage coming into the newsroom at this hour. Here's a look at the Hexion building there along East Broad Street, and you can see the window blown out there. And we've been talking about this throughout the afternoon, some of the serious damage in the downtown area.
So this is a picture of my commute into work today, and I took this because of the absolute gridlock. This is at Front Street, but there's also a big amount of gridlock at High Street, all in the same area there of the Brewery District because of the interstate being shut down and people trying to find alternate routes to make their way through downtown. Just an absolute mess out there today. We do have continuing coverage all evening long right here on ABC 6, and we do hope you'll stay with us.
I am signing a proclamation, declaration of emergency for Perry County as well as Muskingum County.
I feel blessed because we didn't get hurt.
Many of our neighbors, myself included, are already without power, which may continue for several days.
Right now at 5, strong thunderstorms and heavy rain causing a long list of problems for neighbors across central Ohio, from major damage to buildings and homes to thousands of power outages. Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther says the community will now need to work together as we pick up the pieces over the next few days. Good evening. Thanks for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Jessica Ralston.
And I'm Rodney Dunnigan. It has been nonstop, a day of active weather, and just minutes ago, a tornado warning expired for Pike County. Let's toss things over to meteorologist Sarah Converse for a look at the latest.
That is right. So we still continue to hang on to that threat for severe weather just for a little while longer, but we had multiple tree damage reports around the Dublin area, Hilliard, Upper Arlington. At the airport, we did get a wind report, a wind gust report of 82 miles per hour. That is hurricane force winds, and that led to quite a bit of destruction across Franklin County. And also on top of that, all this heavy rain we've been dealing with multiple waves of showers and thunderstorms starting on Monday and Sunday night, where places like down in Perry County, Morgan and Athens County have received over 4 inches of rainfall in the last 24 hours. And we're still adding on to those tallies. So some steady rain continues for Delaware, Columbus, and Newark, sitting at a steady pace. We do have some flash flood warnings that continue down into Pickaway, Hocking, parts of southern Franklin County, Fairfield County until 6:45 p.m. This is labeled as considerable, as many of these areas have picked up over about 2 inches of rainfall. So flooding is either about to or already occurring in many of these communities. We also have some strong thunderstorms down in Pike County, where we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings that are going to last for another 30-some minutes. So some strong winds again and heavy rain passing through the Buckeye State. So we'll continue our severe thunderstorm watch for the next 3 more hours at 8 p.m. for tonight. We'll continue to track out the remainder of these storms for you. Also, we're not officially done yet. We still have another chance to squeeze out a few more storms before the week is up. I'll be timing out that next round of rain for you in just a few minutes.
Anchor Mike McCarthy is out there today. He has been following this all morning and afternoon. He's in East Columbus since this morning.
And Mike, we know there are nearly 80,000 outages in Franklin County, and a good amount are where you are right now. What are you seeing right there on the ground?
So, Rodney, what we're following right now is one of the news developments here on the east side, and it's right behind us here on East Broad Street. You see these cars slowing down because there is standing water here on this major road in and out of downtown Columbus, enough water that it's covering at least one lane in each direction. We have not seen any crashes here yet, but we have seen some cars go through here that are low to the ground, and they are covered completely by this water as they drive through. And I tell you, it is a concern right now across Franklin County. Watch for standing water. If you're not paying attention, you can get caught off guard by that in really a moment. The other impact from this rain we are seeing right now is the fact that it has slowed, if not entirely stopped, the cleanup from the mess that storm earlier today brought here to the Near East Side, and it goes on block after block. Look at this video we captured earlier today. By our count, at least, the storm damage spans at least 8 different blocks, all in the area of East Broad. Some of the worst damage we found is just off Broad along South Ohio and Fair Avenues. That's where roofs were ripped off, a garage collapsed, brick walls were ripped away, and the 3rd floor of a brick building was blown apart. Christina Alvis told me before moving to Columbus she lived through a couple of hurricanes along the East Coast. This storm, the one this morning, she says, was scarier than any of those hurricanes, and it seemed to blow in fast as she felt her home shake.
Well, we've never seen this before. We've lived in the city and we kind of thought we were protected from this. We would always hear about it in the surrounding towns and surrounding areas, but we're not protected. And some of these homes are very old. Our house was built in 1888. So, and a lot of the homes in this area are around that same time period. So just really, really scary.
She and others spent the morning checking on their neighbors. There is a mix tonight of relief and anxiety. Relief that, as far as we know and as far as anyone knows here on the Near East Side, no one was seriously hurt. But there is a lot of anxiety about what lies ahead with insurance claims, when the power will come back on, and how long this cleanup will take. It really was a race against time today in some ways. We saw people pulling off tarps, covering holes in their roofs, trying to cover up whatever damage they could before this latest round of rain arrived here in the Columbus Metro, and it has been relentless, continuing to fall for the last couple of hours. We did hear from Columbus Fire earlier today. We actually saw them out in their vehicles here on the Near East Side, driving street after street, during surveys, checking on damage, making sure that no one was trapped. For part of the early afternoon, we understand firefighters are doing secondary searches of some buildings, again, just to make sure that the situation wasn't as bad as it possibly could have been. No reports of any injuries tonight. But one of the areas hit very hard beyond the Near East Side was the south side of the city. Steve Levine has spent the day there speaking with neighbors and what they experienced. Steve, what are you learning tonight?
Well, Mike, when we came here a little after 10 this morning, it was raining. Here we are more than 7 hours later. It is still raining. And let me show you just some of the mess that this storm left behind. Look at all these trees and these branches and the debris. And it's not just here. Check out right behind me. You can see that tree snapped in two and is now blocking the road. There are power lines and cable lines scattered all over the place. As I said, around noon, the rain was gone. Neighbors able to came out and assess the damage and see what they had to do to clean up as they wait for their power to go back on. The storm hitting this south side neighborhood with a powerful punch. Power lines down, cars flipped over, and awnings dangling on wires.
It could have been really, really bad.
Nicole Hoy shows us where a tree branch ripped through her bedroom wall just seconds after she left the room.
It was terrifying. Very terrifying. If I would have stayed in there, I'd either be seriously hurt or possibly dead.
Nicole's neighborhood turned upside down, trees scattered all over front yards, blocking the roads.
The shed in my backyard is completely lifted off the ground, like into the air on the gate. The side of my house, everything's thrown around. Tree in my yard, it's horrible.
This is video from inside the Hope for Tomorrow, a counseling center near Reeb and Lockbourne, with what the building looked like after the storm blew through.
Oh, it's horrible. It was real bad. We had kids and adults and children in there. We had to get them out to safety. It's gas leaks back there. It's pretty bad.
The wind's pulling apart pieces of this restaurant roof like a tin can.
Rocks, concrete blocks coming from nowhere. The roof caved in. The trees, the food trucks next door just completely flipped over.
I'm grateful everybody's okay. It's pretty bad. And it happened so fast with no warning. Absolutely no warning.
And neighbors hoping tomorrow the sound of the pitter-patter of the rain that we're hearing now will be replaced by buzzsaws as they start to clean up this mess. And it's not just happening in this neighborhood. Kirsten Lindquist is also down further south. Kirsten, what's it like for you?
Yeah, hey, Steve, we're starting to see some of those crews actually, even just neighbors trying to help each other out and start that cleanup process. But we're here off of Hinman and Washington here on the south side of Columbus. And I just want you to take a look at just some of the damage that we're seeing here. Just siding being completely ripped off of homes like these. I've been told by neighbors that some of these shingles seem to be hanging on by just simply a prayer at this point right now. We're starting to see a lot of that tree debris as well as, again, a lot of standing water in some of these areas here. But you can see just how much damage we're starting to get in this area, especially as the ground continues to get saturated by all of this recent rain that we're getting. We're starting to see those trees continue to uproot, and even some of those power lines here fall down in certain areas, leaving some of these folks in the south side without power. And again, they've been like this since earlier this morning, I've been told. Now, we've also seen a lot of neighbors trying to help each other out here. There are actually some folks right up here that you can see are helping out a friend put on a tarp on the top of this home here after the winds blew off some of the shingles. And again, we're starting to see that damage accumulate here on the south side. We're continuing to monitor all of this storm damage. You can stay weather aware with the free Ohio Weather app. For now, on your side on the south side of Columbus, I'm Kirsten Lindquist live for ABC 6 News.
Kirsten, thank you very much. To our southeast now in Perry County tonight, dozens of people there are seeking help after severe flooding has hit that area hard. Nick Veland live on your side as that community deals with quickly rising.
Yeah, Mike, you're absolutely right. You can just see the rain continue to fall down and the water behind me continue to rise. This is on Buckeye Street and close to downtown Crooksville, a very heavy residential area that now first responders are going to be starting to head this way to back out to assess this area after this latest round of rain and storms. And you can see lightning there as well. But all morning, all afternoon, we've heard from first responders who say the shocking part of all of this is how widespread the flooding is. Crooksville and Roseville have had some of the worst spots, and members from the Crooksville Fire Department and the first responders from Buckeye Village Township, Licking Township, Chillicothe, and even Marysville and more are lending a helping hand during this severe flooding. And neighbors say seeing the whole area come together was a sigh of relief that this will eventually be okay.
I'm grateful that we live in a place where we take care of each other, like you said, and I'm thankful to God that we didn't get worse. And I'm just, I guess I feel blessed because we didn't get hurt, and I feel bad for my neighbors because I know other parts of town did.
Now the Red Cross has stations set up, and the one in town here is at the Perry County Fairgrounds. Now emergency crews here tell me that there isn't an end in sight yet. They're gonna have to wait to see what happens after this round of rain and storms. An evacuation notice has been set out again to all the residential neighbors close to water like the one behind me that could be impacted by if these rains were to keep this water rising even more. So there are a few people in those designated zones that have had to evacuate in these areas. Live on your side in Perry County, Nick Veland, ABC 6 News.
Back there, so thank you so much.
Just knocking the door, obviously.
Okay.
Fire, but just,
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
Yes.
And right now, tonight at 5, we are tracking a new round of storms after a day of powerful, severe storms here in central Ohio. In just the last hour and a half, we have now learned Upper Arlington Schools is canceling the first day of class this week. It's because of storm damage there and also power outages. Isabel Hansen live there tonight on your side to show us the impact in that community. Isabel, what are you seeing?
Mike, the impact's extensive, but really focused to one area on this street. We're a block from the high school. This is Wellesley Street. Look for yourself. Dozens of trees snapped, uprooted, these are massive trees too, not small trees that broke off the branches. This is extensive damage here. I just spoke with a neighbor and he pulled home from work to this damage and describes feeling astonished. The power of the storm was so significant. He pointed out that there's actually a light, a piece of equipment from the high school a block over that the wind brought all the way over to this street. Another neighbor tells me that it felt like they were in a movie today as she was driving back home in the midst of the thick of the storm this morning, and trees and branches were flying everywhere. Then she pulled up to see this. Imagine that, this home, this street that's known for their beautiful trees, now it's all on the ground for the most part. I spoke with city leaders and they tell me that thankfully there were no injuries here in Upper Arlington. They received 104 calls for service today because of storm damage. There were 3 house fires also because of the storm, 32 trees down on properties, 10 on houses, 2 on cars. Some of those houses are along this street. There's a garage that has damage to the corner of it. One of the home's roofs is already tarped right now. Neighbors were able to come out this afternoon and able to chop some of these trees up to help let some cars get through. You can see that there's another crew arriving right now. I'm not sure who they're with, but it looks like they must be with the city and they're here to pick up some debris. They're just getting started again. They were able to get a chunk of the work done this afternoon, but then it started raining again. We've been out here for about 2 hours and the rain just finally started to subside. We're only dealing with a few drizzles right now. This is going to be a lot of work for these families. As Mike mentioned, school is canceled tomorrow. Most Upper Arlington students were supposed to start school tomorrow after summer. One of the neighbors tells me that her daughter, it was supposed to be her first day of high school tomorrow. They don't have power here, so she says she's thankful that it's been postponed because tomorrow was also supposed to be picture day, which could make it a little hard for a freshman in high school. They're thankful that everyone's okay. There were no injuries along the street, but they're amazed and astonished, really dumbfounded by the amount of damage that whatever came through this area has caused. Live on your side in Upper Arlington, I'm Isabel Hanson, ABC 6 News.
Isabel, thank you very much. You mentioned the emergency calls there in Upper Arlington today. We did learn from Columbus Fire today. They responded to more than 100 911 calls during this morning's storms. It was a busy day in Dublin as well. We know several roads in that community were closed because of downed trees and also power lines. Here is some wild video tonight. In the far distance, you can see the moments a transformer blew right in the area of Shire Rings Road during the morning drive. And look at this, some even crazier video coming to us tonight from North Columbus after a car was flipped by strong winds. It happened on the highway right on I-71 at Weber Road. You can see the visibility dropped suddenly and then the winds picked up, sending a car flying on the highway. Right now we have not heard if anyone was hurt out of this, but this is an incredible example showing just how strong the storms were this morning here across central Ohio. The crash shut down I-71 for part of the morning rush. Let's send things back now to Sarah Converse in the studio with an updated outlook on these storms, where they're going now, and what could be headed our way next. Sarah?
That's right, Mike. So a very busy day from the morning to the afternoon. Finally seen a little bit of a lull. Like, we still have a lot of rain out there. So my concern for the rest of the evening is any flash flooding that may occur here in the next hour or two, because this rain has been coming down at a steady clip. Our ground is already saturated. We had 2 inches of rainfall just before 5 p.m. as a total for today. And again, that's probably going to go up as it's still some light rain right now outside.
It's been heartbreaking to see Perry County, and people have been sending in pictures of Crooksville basically underwater in areas. And it's really just the beginning of all of this in terms of flooding.
Exactly. So, and you got all that rain still happening down in Perry County. So from last night's storms, we had 5 to 7 inches, and now we're adding on to that. So still some really steady rain into parts of Perry County. This is where the bulk of the rain has now moved off to. So for parts of Licking County, so Newark, Zanesville, New Lexington, Lancaster, Logan, we do have some steady rain. Not as much lightning as the storms down closer near Athens, Vinton, and in the Oak Hill area and Wellston area. But we do have some of these pretty steady rain moving through the area. Starting to lighten up here, though, in Columbus. But again, we do have some lingering flash flood warnings on the board. So one of those, it does include parts of Fairfield, Franklin, Hocking, and Pickaway County up until about 6:45 p.m. This has been upgraded to considerable as flooding is occurring in many of these communities down there. So the concern is to stay at home, do not be driving out on the flooded roadways. You want to turn around, don't drown, try to find some higher ground if you are in a home area that you want to try to seek shelter from the flood waters. Now, Perry and Morgan County, we also have some flash flood warnings as well that will continue into the evening. Overall, the flood watch will last until about 8 a.m. Wednesday, as we'll continue to see this rain move through the area and anticipate there to be more showers and thunderstorms early Wednesday morning. So by 7 p.m., we'll start seeing the bulk of this rain moving out. Now, there's still some thunderstorms still developing out to the west over near Illinois and Indiana. Just based on the current track on radar, those should stay mainly in southwest Ohio for this evening, but anticipate to be some more redevelopment heading into early Wednesday morning, especially focusing more on our southwestern counties like Fayette, Pike, and Ross County. So over into about 4 a.m. Wednesday morning, a couple more showers and thunderstorms possible. That will continue in a part of the morning commute, impacting other areas, potentially London and Circleville here at 7 a.m. And we'll continue to watch out for more thunderstorms that try to fire up by Wednesday afternoon, though coverage is not going to be as extensive as these past two storms have been. And also, mainly that severe weather threat is going to be in the southern part of the state, as winds are still a big issue with some of these thunderstorms. And then that severe weather threat will continue to decrease into Thursday, where it's mainly in the far southern portion of the state on Thursday. Because this front, we won't eventually kick it out until Friday, because Saturday is where we'll eventually see a much needed break from this very wet pattern. Unfortunately, it will resume again briefly as a cold front slides in on Sunday and into early Monday morning.
I'm Dee Gatton with the National News Desk in Washington, D.C., and this is your news update.
He was a very prominent public figure. The president, he got a Presidential Medal of Award for the development of the vaccine. He had a responsibility to tell the public what his thinking actually was, and he failed to do that at the time.
Newly released text messages of Dr. Anthony Fauci show Fauci privately expressed concerns about COVID vaccine safety while publicly declaring the shots were safe. In a text from early 2021, Fauci writes that a second dose for pregnant women, quote, theoretically could be associated with miscarriage in the first trimester. But in a public statement, Fauci said there were no red flags relating to pregnant women getting the shots. Massachusetts has a new law allowing abortion up to birth. Democratic Governor Maura Healey signed the legislation this week, calling abortion a health care decision that should be between families and their doctors. Other states where late-term abortion is legal include Michigan, New Jersey, New Mexico, Colorado, and Alaska. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's pay-to-tear tax is now temporarily blocked. A Staten Island judge paused the tax on high-value second homes in the city as a lawsuit from a group of homeowners plays out. These homeowners claim the city erroneously tried to tax their primary residences. Another hearing is on August 31st. And that's your news update.
Right now at 5:30, we have live team coverage as severe storms hit central Ohio. Tonight, Power Outage US is reporting nearly 100,000 outages all across central Ohio. We have been seeing all day the power outage problem really is just one of many spread across multiple communities. We are seeing hundreds of reports of homes damage, business damages, and more. Also, flooding, uprooted trees and traffic closures as well. Lisa Rontala continues our team coverage tonight live on the north side. Lisa, what are you seeing there?
Well, Mike, I can tell you just off the campus of The Ohio State University, this is the damage 7 hours after the day's first storm blew through. The high winds took out power to traffic lights, and just check it out. Destroyed nearly every tree that was in its path. Now we're waiting for crews to come out, clean up, and make repairs. Columbus police, who closed off several blocks of Ackerman Road, told me a call came out on their radio at 7:17 a.m. with an officer calling this damage from a tornado. The tree line along Ackerman that borders campus are part of the half-mile path of destruction we tracked today. That damage included trees falling on several lanes of the roadway, pushed over power poles, and power out for traffic lights. One man got out when he knew it was safe. He was staying about a mile from here. He's visiting his wife. He's from New York. She works at OSU.
And I took my car to fill it up with gas because I see that we might have some more storms later tonight.
Yeah.
And I got over there. I saw that there was the roof was off of the canes. Taco Bell had damage, gas station. I see that there was some renovation being done on a schoolhouse. There's a tree that hit that. And I saw over here because I was trying to get some videos for my family. And I just see this whole strip of street just littered with trees and debris. And it's quite amazing. I've never seen anything quite like it.
And check this out. This is video I took on the campus side of Ackerman, where clearly an OSU fan was severely affected by this storm. The Brutus plate was okay, but a tree toppled on the car's rooftop. And again, it has been 7 hours since we saw all of this destruction take place. We have seen some crews come out, clean up a bit of the roadway, but still no one to lift those utility poles upright. OSU says they are affected by several power outages, but we haven't seen anything lately because the thunder out here and lightning, from this most recent storm has been constant. Reporting live from campus, I'm Lisa Ronchula for ABC 6 News.
Lisa, thank you very much. Let's bring in meteorologist Sarah Converse into the conversation tonight because, Sarah, we have seen so many pictures and so many videos coming into our newsroom today showing significant damage. Here where we're live on the Near East Side, I personally saw today roofs that were ripped off of homes, brick walls that were blown apart. And with all this rain we are still getting right now, the situation, unfortunately, may get worse. What are we expecting tonight?
Yeah, so my concern going forward now is going to be more of a flash flooding threat. The severe thunderstorm watch will continue until 8 p.m. unless they decide to allow this to expire early. Now, the National Weather Service says that they are going to potentially do surveys to determine whether or not a lot of the damage we've seen across Columbus and for central Ohio, if there could have been tornadoes that touched down in the area. However, that is going to take time because of all of that's happening around central Ohio between the flooding, all these severe thunderstorms in the area, and we're not done yet in terms of thunderstorm activity. So there's that severe thunderstorm watch. Again, this will continue up until about 8 p.m. for tonight, though the bulk of this rain has started to move out here in Columbus. We're on the lighter side, but some pretty moderate to heavy rain continues down into Perry County, unfortunately right in the New Lexington area, also for Zanesville and Muskingum County, down into McConnellsville, Athens, and into Hawking County. So that flash flood threat continues as we do have some flash flood warnings for parts of Fairfield, Southern Franklin, Hawking, and Pickaway County up until about this evening, so about 6:45 p.m. This is labeled as considerable as flooding is happening in these areas. Athens, Vinton, and Washington County, flash flood warning that continues until 6:15, and then other parts of Athens, northern Athens County, Morgan, Perry, and Washington County, also about 6:15. A lot of these areas have picked up over 5 inches of rainfall. So stay with us as I'll let you know when we could finally break out of this active weather pattern. I'll have a full check of your forecast for you coming up in just a couple minutes.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Take a look at this. We're getting more pictures coming into the newsroom of what you are out there seeing in your communities and neighborhoods. Check out this tree into a home in Pickerington there. This is on Huntington Way. You can see just how much damage that it caused. And check out this shelf cloud moving across Logan just this afternoon. Very ominous looking there. It was taken about 3:45 this afternoon. A big thanks to Sandy Brown for sending in that picture. And look at this incredible video. It was captured by a porch camera by Corey Holmes at the height of the storms here in Columbus. You can actually see just how strong the wind is here. Then all of a sudden you can see a tree snap and crash right to the ground. And that is an example of how dangerous and how serious this situation has been throughout the morning, afternoon, and into the evening.
All right, let's head downtown, show you how strong the winds were in Columbus as those storms moved on through. This is right along Spring Street. Already there, limbs were down. Our photographer Ben Martin also showed a tree blown over into the road. Huge limbs blocking the sidewalks there. Just an absolute mess.
And a side note, I was actually out there and I saw Ben this afternoon. It was crazy out there. I was telling you I was downtown this afternoon. If you could have been out there, literally the wind and the rain was blowing sideways.
This is at the time when most of the major damage occurred in the downtown area, and it's like nothing we've ever really seen down here before. Also tonight, we can move along from weather for just a moment and share some of the day's bigger headlines as well. Mansfield police have arrested a 16-year-old boy in a deadly stabbing that happened just after midnight at a home on Lexington, Ontario Road. Deputies say when they arrived at the scene, they found the victim and the suspect stabbed. The victim died at the hospital. The teen is now being held at the Richland County Juvenile Detention Center for murder.
A Canal Winchester man is facing his second felony rape charge of the year after being accused of assaulting a woman in Whitehall. Police say it all happened early this morning at the UDF on East Main Street. According to court documents, at the time of this assault, Devon McBroom was out on bond in connection with a rape back in February. Whitehall police say they used flock cameras to identify the suspect and track him down. He's due in court tomorrow on charges of rape and operating a vehicle under the influence.
We are on your side tonight. We are following this storm damage. Right now, the Red Cross is setting up shelters in Perry County where there is major flooding. We're going to show you what's happening there in just a few minutes.
What would you say to the Columbus Police Department?
I would tell them thank you for saving me, and also if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be here.
The 8th grader that inspired Avery's Law is opening up about how therapy dogs helped her recover after she was seriously hurt in a dog attack.
It is a story we will never forget. Avery Russell was 11 years old when she was mauled by 2 pit bulls during a play date in 2024. The dog's owner, Stephanie Ayers, was only sentenced to 4 days in jail and fined $450. Avery's story of survival led to lawmakers passing Avery's Law in 2025, which establishes stricter requirements for dangerous dog owners. Avery's mom says Columbus Police therapy dogs gave her courage to take the stand in court.
I was not allowed to go. I was in the room while she testified, but I was not allowed to sit on the stand with her. They made her go by herself during our the dog owner's criminal trial, and Maverick actually came and kept her company, and she was able to get through the testimony and stand strong in her story.
Columbus Police launched the therapy dog unit in 2019. They're still adding new features. They just announced a partnership to give kids a mini stuffed therapy dog when they're involved in a traumatic event that their therapy dogs show up to.
Still to come tonight, the Red Cross is responding to Perry County as neighbors are being told to evacuate. After the break, we're on your side with what you need to know if you've been impacted by today's severe weather.
Holy no way!
I told you the fridge. I was like, babe.
Take a look at this wild video tonight sent to us from a viewer in Fairfield County. You can see the moments here. Some strong winds knocked several items into a yard, including a box with a fridge inside. Wind gusts reached up to 80 miles per hour this morning in central Ohio. There's also a flood watch in effect tonight for Fairfield County that goes through Wednesday morning. And we're also seeing more of that extreme flooding in Perry County tonight as creeks there are rising. That high water is so extensive that several agencies across multiple states are now headed there. Crooksville Fire says hundreds of homes have been affected by this, and there have been about 50 water rescues so far. This morning, neighbors at the Village Green Apartments had to be evacuated there.
Before I went to bed, I mean, it was thundering and lightning and everything. It was pouring down rain, but the water really wasn't up yet. It didn't really get up until my mom had called me around 4 o'clock in the morning and told me that her apartment was underwater and she lost everything.
Those rescued there were taken to the Crooksville High School, where they are receiving help tonight from the American Red Cross. And the Red Cross has set up 3 shelters right now in Perry County. They are located at the Perry County Fairgrounds and the Corning Monroe Civic Center as well. A shelter that was set up at the Perry County Middle School has now been closed, so there are 2 shelters operating tonight there in Perry County. We have some new pictures out of downtown Columbus showing dozens of trees knocked over after the first round of storms that rolled through central Ohio this morning. We have some pictures here from East Town Street, not too far from the Topiary Park. You can see a pole collapsed and power lines there hanging on. The sidewalks were barely walkable with debris scattered seemingly everywhere. We do want to thank everyone who sent in videos and pictures of that weather into our newsroom. Remember, you can always do that through the Chime In feature, both at abc6onyourside.com and on the ABC6 News app. But please remember, safety first. Only take those videos and photos when you safely can, and then we would love to see them when you can safely share them with us. We're going to keep our eye on the situation here on the Near East Side, where it looks like finally the rain is now starting to let up. In the meantime, though, let's send things back into the studio with Jessica, Rodney, and Sarah with a check of the forecast that, Sarah, a lot of people are really interested in, clearly.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just getting confirmation. I just saw another video. It looks...
I mean, all the social media comments are, we would be hard pressed to believe it wasn't a tornado. The National Weather Service, they will come in, assess the damage, they'll make the confirmation or decide really what happened. But we've just never seen this kind of damage in the metro area.
And so widespread, too.
And that's the thing that I feel like a lot of people, it's dangerous behavior to think that, oh, I'm in a metro area and I'm safe.
No, not true.
Tornadoes can happen in a metro area. Just because it doesn't happen all the time, it may seem like it happens more in the outlying rural areas and open fields, doesn't mean it can't happen in a metro area.
And of course, I think now, of course, our attention really needs to be on Perry County, where they're having these evacuations. They have terrible flooding there. Our hearts go out to them. That is a big story that we will be following.
I wouldn't be surprised at the end of this situation, they get up to close to a foot of rain.
Wow.
And that's just going to exacerbate a lot of the rivers and streams in eastern Ohio, where we do have lots of flash flood warnings in effect for East Ohio. So we do have still some moderate rains that continues through parts of East Ohio. So down into McConnellsville, Cambridge, Zanesville, New Lexington, Logan, and even in Lancaster. The rain's starting to lighten up here in Columbus, but still have some pretty steady rain on the east side. So we'll have some rumbles of thunder intermittently into these clusters of storms. Again, these red polygons, these dark red polygons, those are all flash flood warnings. So that stretches from Pickaway County all the way out into Morgan County. These will last up until no later than 6:30, 7:45 p.m. for a lot of these flash flood warnings. So as the saying goes, turn around, don't drown. Flooding is the second leading weather cause of weather fatalities. heat is number one. So definitely make sure to listen to any road closures or any areas that are prone to flooding. Try to avoid those routes. I am keeping a close eye on some thunderstorms out to the west, though based on those projected course, those should stay closer into the Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky. So I am optimistic that we'll start to see quieter conditions settling back into the area before we'll see another chance for thunderstorms on Wednesday. Even here in the Columbus area, we did pick up quite a bit of rainfall. Again, this is just we'll see the number eventually increase as we get into the overnight hours when they finalize that daily climate report. But as of before 5 p.m., we did pick up about a little over 2 inches of rainfall at the airport. And again, it's still reporting some light rain, especially on the east side, and some rumbles of thunder. It's right now 69 degrees, winds from the west at 9 miles per hour. So in the next hour or two, we'll start to see the bulk of this rain moving out of the region. So by 7 p.m., just have some lingering rain down near Morgan County and Athens County. And then we'll have mostly cloudy skies overall. But watching for a few more thunderstorms heading into early Wednesday morning. Here's midnight down into parts of Hillsborough and Waverly, and that will continue into part of the morning commute. Potentially on Wednesday is really going to come down to where exactly these thunderstorms set up. So here at 4 a.m. have some thunderstorms really confined to southwest Ohio. Again, I'm not ruling out a couple more storms to try to clip parts of Franklin County, but better chances for storms will be in this quadrant of the Buckeye State. So for Fayette County, Chillicothe, Waverly. Low end threat for severe weather, not as high as these past 2 days have been. Winds will still be the primary threat with any stronger storms, and it won't be until Saturday that we'll finally dry things out.
Around town this weekend, the Columbus Food Truck Festival is back in action, and ahead of the big event out at the Franklin County Fairgrounds, Katie McKee got a look at one food truck is cooking up for the weekend ahead.
Well, as you may have heard, the Columbus Food Truck Festival is happening this weekend. There are going to be more than 40 food trucks all in one location. It's going to be quite the party. We are joined now with the Food Truck Festival founder, Chas Kaplan, and Grateful Griddle food truck owner as well, Lance Robinson. So we're going to start with you and talk a little bit about what folks can expect, because it is all about the food, but there's also some other stuff happening as well.
We've got a ton of other stuff. We've got incredible music. We've got Jordan from Love is Blind coming out on Friday.
Love it.
On Saturday, we've got one of my favorite bands in town, Friends of the Dead. And then headlining is DJ Logic and Robert Randolph, who just won his second Grammy, rock, jazz, blues, funk, slide guitar. It's amazing.
Why do you keep putting on something like this? Why is this important for people who, operate and own these trucks?
Well, for me, the punchline is music and food feed the soul. So that's how I live. That's life. I know that's how Lance lives, music and food. I want to take people out of their daily stresses of life. Come out, enjoy a lot of different meals to eat, because, by the way, every truck has a $6 sample size item. So you can venture off to all 45 food trucks and eat from, let's hope, at least 10 or 15 of them.
You can get out and try them all. Lance, let's talk a little bit about what it's like to have a business on four wheels.
It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. I love being able to serve people food and making them happy. I was in finance for 20 some years and wanted to switch gears, and one thing I love to do was backyard barbecues. So I decided, hey, why not build a food truck and make some burgers for people and make them smile.
Were you known as the guy in the neighborhood that could throw down on a mean griddle?
Yes, I was. Everyone would come to my house for the parties, and that's sort of where I got this idea to come and build a food truck.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming out this morning. Thank you guys for cooking for us early. And yes, just remind people about when and where and what they need to know ahead of time.
The festival is Friday, August 14th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Come on out. There's free parking, a ton of free parking. Tickets are on sale now at columbusfoodtruckfest.com.
All right, Chas, thank you so much. Lance, thank you so much. Gorgeous food, looks delightful. So yeah, good place to try a little bit of something that Columbus has to offer. Central Ohio packing food trucks into one place so you can go and dabble and find out exactly what you may love already or what you may learn to love. Back to you guys.
All right, Katie, if you're ready to get your grub on or you just really want to watch the full interview, you can head on over to our ABC6 Facebook page for all the info you need before you go. We will be back right after this.
Positive news on the health front tonight. The number of people losing their lives to overdoses is falling across the state.
A collaboration in Cincinnati is getting a lot of the credit. Jenny Lee Borick explains.
It was 11 years ago when some who work in law enforcement around Cincinnati saw a growing problem they didn't know how to fix. For Chief Tom Synan of the Newtown Police Department, it was after he saw a mother and 3 of her sons die from overdoses.
This family dies. I feel helpless as a first responder, as a police officer. I didn't have resources necessarily to connect with. It was a family tragedy, a community tragedy, one that was being repeated over and over again.
Members of the county's Police Chief Association went to county leaders, and what's now known as the Hamilton County Addiction Response Coalition was formed with about a dozen members. Since then, it's grown to more than 1,100 members and 400 agencies, law enforcement, doctors, elected officials, quick response teams, judges, and those who provide treatment in jails. Recently, delegates including teachers, lawmakers, policy advisors, and law enforcement from more than 7 countries came to the area to learn what's working here.
They saw a collaboration that helped change an infrastructure and a system from not only a criminal justice system, but a system that works on public health and trying to get people connected to treatment and long-term care. And they came up and go, we are shocked by the humanity and we appreciate that humanity. And that's one of the things we want to take back.
Synan says a lot has changed since the area saw 174 overdoses in 2016 in just 1 week, making international headlines. The coalition is now leading the way on how to save lives, and the world is noticing.
We saw an issue, we felt helpless, we reached out, connected with other community members, and we built these groups that are now not only making an impact here, but making an impact around the world.
Jenny Lee Borick reporting. The latest numbers available from the state health department are from 2024. Then heroin made up 2% of overdoses, much less than fentanyl, even cocaine.
ABC 6 News at 6 on your side starts
now. So no
now.
matter where you are in Ohio, this is the time, frankly, to keep your TV on, your radio on.
Severe weather slamming the state today, and Governor Mike DeWine says this is only the beginning. Toppling trees and flash flooding, shutting down roads, cars flipping from the gusting winds, and thousands without power tonight. We're on your side, making sure you're ready for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I'm Rodney Dunnigan.
I'm Jessica Ralston. Mike McCarthy joining us live on the Near East Side of Columbus this evening. First, we will begin our coverage here at 6 o'clock with meteorologist Sarah Converse.
So we're starting to see the storm activity lighten up, but still have the chance for some heavy rain to continue on the east side, which is, again, exacerbating a lot of the flooding that's already happening in parts of Perry County and Morgan County and Athens County, even parts of northern Hocking County, where we have many communities that have seen over 4 inches of rainfall. So that's where we're seeing more of that steady rain, again, in New Lexington, over into McConnellsville and parts of Athens County. So we're starting though seeing a little bit of drier conditions settling back into the region though here in Columbus, but still have some flash flood warnings that continue for the next at least 30 to 45 minutes. So this one for Fairfield, Franklin, Hocking, and Pickaway County, 6:45 p.m. We also have some more flash flood warnings in parts of Athens, Vinton, Washington, and into parts of northern Athens County, Morgan County until also 6:15. So stay with us. A couple more thunderstorms are possible heading into Wednesday morning. I'll be timing those out for you in just a moment, but first let's send things back over to Mike McCarthy.
Sarah, we are live here on the Near East Side tonight, where for one of the few times today a welcomed sight is happening. The rain that has been falling relentlessly here for several hours is now letting up. Just a very light sprinkle here along East Broad Street, though we are still seeing the impacts of not only the rain this afternoon, but also from this morning. Behind me, you may see some of the drivers going through some water that has covered at least one lane in east direction of East Broad Street. The rain has just fallen so fast that water had nowhere to go, and it is catching some drivers off guard. But we are expecting tonight, now that the rain is letting up, to see the cleanup effort get back underway here on the Near East Side. And so much work has to happen with that. The damage here goes at least for 8 blocks that we have counted so far. That does include a row of condos over on Latta Avenue. There, part of the roof was ripped off. Bricks tumbled off that building. Debris was blown down the street. Jen Foster's condo was spared the worst of the damage, but she says it's still such a frustrating scenario because the torn up roof on her building was relatively new.
We had wind damage probably, it was either 2 or 3 years ago, I can't remember the exact date, and we had just had this brand new roof put on a couple of years ago. All new flat roofing, everything is done, and I had lived with holes in my ceiling before, and it was just so frustrating.
The most extensive damage we found today on the Near East Side is in the area of South Ohio and Fair Avenues. That's where roofs were destroyed, ripped away. The 3rd floor of a brick building was also blown apart. A garage there collapsed, and more. Neighbors there spent the morning checking on one another, relieved really that no one was seriously hurt. We did see Columbus Fire going through that neighborhood street by street, assessing the damage. They told us today they responded to more than 100 911 calls during the morning storm that happened right around 10 o'clock or so. Tonight, we are also hearing tonight, more than anything, a sense of shock here from neighbors of the Near East Side. Multiple neighbors telling us they just did not believe something like this could happen in the city. They felt insulated, protected in a way. But today, the storm proved that this kind of damage can happen really anywhere. And it has, not just here, but also on the south side of the city. That's tonight where we find Steve Levine with what people there went through. Steve, what are you finding there?
Mike, let me show you. Big, heavy branches like this scattered all over this south side neighborhood. Check it out. We've got all kinds of tree limbs and debris. They're not only in the street, but they are in people's front yards. And look right behind me. One huge tree, probably more than 100 years old, snapped right in two and fell, is now blocking the street. But that is not only the damage that we found here. Look what we found out and saw inside one home. A tree branch busting through the wall of a bedroom. See what it looked like inside this house right after it happened. Luckily, no one was hurt. Several businesses near Lockbourne and Reeb had parts of their roofs blown off, windows shattered. This is video of damage inside a counseling center moments after that storm blew through.
Next thing you know, it was like a real white blur, like a whole bunch of snow or clear looking blur, and it came and said boom, and it disappeared. And by the time we looked up, the trees flipped, the vans was flipped, our whole building was tore down.
And look at the video that we shot earlier today. Some of those cars that were flipped over because of the winds. Now that the rain seems to have subsided for now, neighbors apparently now coming out and trying to put their neighborhood back together again, starting that repair job as they wait for the power to come back on. They say they have not heard yet when that will happen. And it's not just happening here. Lisa Rontula in the University District. Lisa, I'm sure there's a big repair job and cleanup job there as well.
Steve, in fact, in the last couple of minutes on this end of Ackerman Road, signs of cleanup. You can see crews just past these cars. They've got their chainsaws, they've got their machinery, they're cutting up logs that fell in this business district, and they are logging them off. But on the road itself, on Ackerman, you still have Columbus police, and you have this roadway that is still closed. Now, Columbus police, who closed off several blocks of Ackerman, told me a call came out on their radio system at 10:17 this morning with an officer calling this a tornado. The tree line along Ackerman that borders campus is part of the half-mile path of destruction we saw today. That damage included trees falling on several lanes of the roadway, pushed over utility poles, and power outages pause for the traffic lights. We spoke with those who were impacted when it came to work, including a Taco Bell employee and a man who said his wife works at a medical office on campus.
She works for OSU. She's a psychometrist. She works down the road, and actually they lost power at work, and they had to send patients home for their morning appointments, and everybody there is waiting for power to be turned back on.
Your passenger, what were you seeing as you were driving? Could you feel the wind?
Yeah, I was able to feel the wind rocking the car around. It was other cars stopping in the middle of the road. The traffic lights was out. That just made it a little worse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And check this out. This is video I took on the campus side of Ackerman Road this morning, where clearly an OSU fan was severely affected. The Brutus played okay, but the tree toppled on the car's rooftop. And I can tell you, folks are out here. We've been seeing them take pictures of this damage all day. One man who I just talked to said he does want to reach out to the National Weather Service. He wants them to look at all of this damage. He has gone past this point, and he definitely believes it was a tornado that touched down here, but we won't know that until the experts let us know, and including some of our own experts. Let's toss it back to the studio. Reporting live now just off of campus, I'm Lisa Rontala for ABC 6 News.
All right, thank you, Lisa. I will take that. I think I am an expert. How about that? Now is a great time to pull out your phone and download the free Ohio Weather app. Stay weather aware and watch that live active radar with our team of weather experts, of course. Plus, you'll get updates from the team of First Warning Weather Team. Of course, anytime there's severe weather in Central Ohio, just search Ohio WX in your app store. We're back in a moment. Across Central Ohio, many families are unsure when their lights will be back on. That includes more than 80,000 just right here in Franklin County.
In some cases, people are getting notices. It could be days, and the power companies say they are working to get everything back on for all these customers as they deal with more severe weather ahead. Now, take a look at AEP crews and what they are facing. This is in Crooksville out of Perry County. We've been there today during just some terrible flooding. They can't make repairs until the flooding goes down, but AEP says they are exploring some other options, including building a whole new service line there. It is not clear how long the outages could last, but there are some things you can do to keep your food and medicine safe to ingest.
So keep in mind that refrigerators as well as freezers, the longer you can keep those doors closed, the more effective they'll be at cooling the items inside. So a refrigerator, if it is closed, can keep food safe for about 4 hours without power if you can keep those doors closed. A freezer can keep food safe for about 48 hours.
You can also put ice in coolers with ice packs to make sure food and medicine are kept at the right temp. Governor DeWine saying he expects the flooding to stay around until at least Thursday, and Sarah can talk more about that.
That's right. So we still have some more rain right now moving in parts of eastern Ohio and a couple more chances by the end of the week. I'll let you know when we'll finally break out of this active weather pattern coming up in just a few minutes.
Right now, we are following the impacts of severe storms here in central Ohio, including on the Near East Side, where I am live right now, and also beyond. One of the biggest concerns at this hour is severe flooding in Perry County. This afternoon, Governor Mike DeWine announced that the National Guard Highway Rescue Unit is headed there. Nick Veland live on your side in that community following the rising waters. Nick, what are you seeing tonight?
Yeah, Mike, we're in Roseville right now. We're going to see you exactly what we're seeing. Now, this road heads right into the main downtown area of Roseville. You can see to the right, that's part of the road starting to crumble. We just spoke with the police chief of Roseville, and he said that he's going to try to get barricades out here because this is one of those roads that they're going to have to close for a good bit of time. Now, to the right, he said that there's a fence that goes along this whole area. So you're going to see how much water has been coming into this community over the last multiple hours, and it's making any sort of travel extremely difficult. And officials are saying if you come across any flooding on roadways, to turn around. Rescue crews have been active all morning, going door to door to make sure everyone is okay in these flooded areas. Now, a common trend we found when talking to neighbors was flooded basements, even in their houses that were away from the worst part of the rising water in town. Once there was some relief this morning, it was all hands on deck for homeowners to make some fixes and get generators working to dry up the inside of their house before more rain came this afternoon.
Now the water is accumulated in the basement, probably maybe 8 inches worth. So if I can get this thing fired back up, I can at least get rid of the water, prevent more damage from happening.
Now these rescue crews are still out and about, and officials say it will stay that way. It'll be all hands on deck, and until some of this water is able to go down. And You know, officials say that there's no timeline because they haven't seen flooding like this in dozens of years. That's what a police chief just told me for Roseville. And again, neighbors are going to be continuing to monitor all of this. There is an evacuation order, a voluntary evacuation order for some parts of Roseville and Crooksville. So they're going to be continuing to monitor these rising waters until it starts to go down. Now over to Isabel Hansen.
Nick, neighbors in Upper Arlington described the damage from today's storm as straight out of a movie. It's a sign the rain slowed down here. Crews using the chainsaw to clear this tree from Wellesley Street. This is a block from the high school. I want you to see one of many examples of the strength of this storm. It uprooted this massive tree and pulled up the concrete sidewalk with it. The winds went straight in that direction and pushed another tree onto that home along with several others in this neighborhood. The wind also rips down multiple power lines and people are without power here. This isn't the only street the storm hit in Upper Arlington. Crews are aware of 32 trees on houses and cars and 22 streets in the city blocked. They're making their way through the different areas today and tomorrow. The damage in the city forced Upper Arlington schools leaders to cancel classes tomorrow. It would have been the first day of school for most Upper Arlington students. The plan is to update UA families tomorrow when school buildings are assessed. While the damage is significant and will cause challenges for neighbors in the days, weeks, and possibly months ahead, they say they're thankful that no one was injured. A city representative also confirmed to me that no one was hurt throughout today's storms. Neighbors say that this is a day they will never forget. Live on your side in Upper Arlington, I'm Isabel Hansen, ABC 6 News.
All right, take a look at this video here. Gusty winds slamming trees to the ground and dragging trash cans across parking lots. This is video from the Bethel Commons condos in North Columbus. Thank you, Rob, for sending us in this video. And Sarah, this is an example of what many communities had to deal with this afternoon.
I mean, at the airport, we did get a wind report of 82 miles per hour. That is hurricane force winds. Again, the National Weather Service will be eventually going out and taking a look at all the damage that has happened across the area to determine what was actually straight line wind damage and what was versus a tornado. That will take time for them to do that as we were active across the region. We're seeing that rain finally letting up here in Columbus, just some light precipitation at the moment. The bulk of the rain now still impacting down into Chillicothe, Vinton, Athens, outside of Caldwell, and also still in the New Lexington area where they're still getting pummeled with rainfall amounts. I just looked at radar. There was even some areas that have picked up now over 10 inches of rain. Now the severe thunderstorm watch continues until 8 p.m., but I do believe the severe weather threat for now is starting to wrap up for us. We're just watching out for some storms, mainly out in western Ohio or western Indiana. That, I believe, is going to be staying closer to, as they track through the area for the night, closer down into Cincinnati. So most likely what will happen is the Storm Prediction Center, in coordination with the National Weather Service, will most likely let this watch at least ride into 8 p.m. They could potentially allow it to expire, though, in the next hour. So these storms are going to be moving out of the area, but we still have some more lingering storms out into Indiana that will eventually track into parts of northern Kentucky and Cincinnati. But heading into the overnight hours again and into early Wednesday morning, anticipate there to be redevelopment of showers and thunderstorms, though the focus for Wednesday is going to be more into southwestern Ohio, where we do have a level 1 threat for severe weather. So for 4 a.m. Wednesday morning, we'll squeeze out a couple more scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. The concern is for gusty winds, also for more heavy rainfall. And it's not going to take much to get flooding to occur in the area, as we've been very much oversaturated across the region. So 7 a.m. for the morning commute, anticipate our southern and southwestern counties to experience some scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. Can't rule out some rain here in Columbus as well. Then heading into Thursday and and Friday. We'll have a chance for a few more storms in the area. The severe weather threat is going to start to wind down, though. So you can see here for Wednesday and for Thursday, the severe weather threat mainly in the southern part and southwestern part of the state. And it'd be isolated, a strong storm or two possible that could pack wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Eventually, we'll get this stalled out front out of the area on Friday. So Saturday, we will be drying things out briefly because another cold front is on the way. So for Sunday into early Monday morning, we'll have our next round of rain. Temperatures will be trending cooler in the low 80s.
So check out the Clippers social media for any updates on that. The Crew game, the MLS big match tonight with the Pumas, that is still on as scheduled for 7:30 tonight.
And most of the rain should be out of the region by then, and most likely that watch will be allowed to expire. We'll be keeping a close eye, though, for tomorrow. We'll squeeze out a few more thunderstorms in the area, especially in southwest Ohio. Again, it's not until Saturday that we'll finally see a little break in this wet pattern.
All right, thanks a lot. And we'll have an update on the weather conditions tonight at 7. We'll see you then. After a massive storm system that blew through the area Tuesday morning and again in the afternoon, thousands have been left without power, and cleanup will be no small task. With this storm, she says, was pretty scary and seemed to blow in fast, and it felt like her home was shaking.
Well, we've never seen this before. We've lived in the city and we kind of thought we were protected from this. We would always hear about it in the surrounding towns and surrounding areas, but we're not protected. And some of these homes are very old. Our house was built in 1888. So, and a lot of the homes in this area are around that same time period. So just really, really scary.
And neighbors have been checking in on each other, relieved that no one seems to have been seriously hurt. Now there's a lot of anxiety about what lies ahead, like insurance claims, when their power will come back on, and how long the cleanup will take. The Columbus Fire Department says it responded to more than 100 911 calls this morning, with firefighters spending part of the afternoon doing secondary searches of multiple buildings. Steve Levine was on the scene of some of that damage on the south side Tuesday afternoon.
The storm hitting this south side neighborhood with a powerful punch. Power lines down, cars flipped over, and awnings dangling on wires.